Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today, as you can see behind me, I have a lot of miscellaneous pipes, silicone hoses, stuff like that. They were borrowed from the Marauder build that is no longer on the channel. We are going to be using those things to create a cold air intake for the 4-valve Mustang. So let's get into today's video. Alright, so the reason behind using these bunch of miscellaneous parts and air filters and stuff like that to create a cold air intake is, frankly, no one makes one. No one makes one for the Gen 1 style intake that's all the way at the firewall. Either I would have to make my own, or I would actually have to order the factory air box crap for the Gen 1 motors, and I really don't want to do that. I want this thing to breathe properly. So I also have a throttle position sensor that I need to install, so I'm gonna have to remove the throttle body, install the throttle position sensor, connect it, because there won't be much space to do any of that behind where the throttle sits. So yeah, that's what we got up for today. Also, I gotta fix a power steering leak, which is just tightening up a hose, and I think that should be it. But we're getting much closer to driving this thing. I really don't want to drive it unless I'm more than confident that this thing won't just really get destroyed on the first drive. Throttle position sensor, mass airflow sensor, I'm going to deal with those two sensors today, getting those installed and getting those hooked up. But we still don't have any O2 sensors. The O2 sensor I had on the passenger side, that the wiring was shredded on that, couldn't get that sorted out, and I snapped the O2 sensor on the driver's side when installing the motor. So I have to order 2 more of those and get those installed. But after today, those 2 should be the last 2 sensors that I have to install before we can drive this thing. So let's get into installing the, well, not installing, but removing the throttle body and then trying to mock up some type of cold air intake for it. Alright, so let me give you a look of what I'm talking about. In the back here, that throttle body is tucked tight up in the back there, and the throttle position sensor is even further in the back, so I have to remove that. I think it's like 4 10mm screws. Gotta take those out. Gotta remove the spring. Let me show you my throttle setup. It really is kind of jimmy rigged. So this brings the throttle back. If you can see the plates, that spring brings it back to closed. I used the Marauder's cable and just folded it over and used a clamp to attach it to the actual throttle body. So that's how I'm doing it, and it works pretty good. I've had no issues out of it so far. But it's time to remove all this stuff, remove the throttle body, and then get to installing the throttle position sensor, and then trying to mock up what will fit over this oval style throttle body. Alright, so this is the throttle body. This is how it sits in the vehicle. Like I said, it's all the way up against the firewall. This is where we're going to be installing that throttle position sensor, so that when this flap opens, the computer knows, and it knows how to tune it. I'm going to be applying a little bit of silicone at the bottom of this gasket just to make sure that no air leaks out of these ports, and we should be good to start mocking up some type of cold air intake to go on top of here. Alright, so far on the throttle body I have this Jimmy Rig, you know, silicone hose on it. It's should be nice and airtight, but my issue is now finding a pipe to fit this size or spread that way, or somehow where I could put something over this I could run to a pipe. But I'm gonna try and figure this thing out, and then we will move forward with installing this on the car. Alright, it's freaking nighttime now. It's like 66 degrees out, so that's freezing for us in the Bahamas. Super cold, so I want to get through this video and get inside. But I got the throttle position sensor installed. I actually did my best to delete my intake manifold runner controls, and what I mean by that is not a physical delete, but I just have the flap all the way up. Let me zoom into this. And then I tied it in position. So those small plates that are open and close with vacuum, I have them wide open. I ran this motor last night. And it ran funny, it took long to start, all type of weird stuff, but had a power steering leak. I tightened up that hose that goes straight to the pump. Couldn't figure out absolutely anything that could work with making a cold air intake, so we still don't have any mass airflow sensor on it. Alright, so at this point it's really looking like I'm gonna have to change this intake manifold. I'm gonna have to buy the Gen 2 intake manifold that brings the throttle body off to the side and not have it all the way in the back. This one is just causing me too much grief, too much problems. I'm gonna do my best to run it like this to do a first drive, but like I said, it's gonna run super rich because there's no mass airflow sensor and there's no upstream O2 sensors, so it's gonna run rich if you have it that way. But what I am going to attempt to do now is start it, and I'm just gonna listen to see if the throttle position sensor or completely tying up those what do you call those? They're like vacuum plungers that open up the intake manifold runners, and I'm gonna hope that this thing runs better tonight than it did last night. But we're gonna keep working on it, keep chipping away at it until we get it right. Alright, so I'm gonna show you this in live time, guys. I'm not gonna edit this. I'm gonna show you how much time it takes to start it, and you know, it'll catch itself and continue running. It took me what, about almost 6 or 7 tries last night, and then it caught itself and continued running. But we're gonna see what it's gonna do now. Alright, so as you guys have just heard, this thing is running really well. It's ran the best that it's ran in a very long time. and I just need to bleed that power steering. That's what that loud squealing noise is. But other than that, I've had no issues just now, no leaks, no hiccups. Still some vacuum leaks where I don't have a cold air intake on it, because there's 2 vacuum ports right at the top of the throttle body. Hopefully we could get that sorted out soon, but we might just have to live with that when it comes to doing a first drive. I let it idle for about 10 minutes just now. Didn't have any issues, no overheating, no weird noises, anything like that. So it looks like we're getting somewhere now. We just need to get those 2 upstream O2 sensors in and figure out a way to install a MAF on this thing. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one.